Chapter 1. The Swimmer. I grew up near a lake, not a large lake, maybe a mile and a half across at its widest, ringed with summer cabins and a small public beach on the south end, where the town put up a rope and a buoy line in July and August. I swam in that lake for every summer of my childhood. I knew it the way you know a place your body has spent 1,000 hours in. I stopped swimming in it when I was 16, and I've almost been off and in since. What happened was this. It was late August, a Tuesday afternoon, the kind of day when the summer crowd was thin because it was a weekday and school was starting soon. I was at the public beach with two friends. We swam out to the buoy line, turned around, swam back, the way we always did. On the second swim out, I was ahead of my friends and had reached the buoy line and was treading water waiting for them when I felt something brush my leg. Not a fish. I have had fish brush against me in that lake many times, and I know what it feels like, quick, incidental, gone in an instant. This was different. This was a deliberate contact, something moving slowly along the length of my calf, from ankle to knee, and then continuing upward past my knee, slowly, as if investigating. I pulled my legs up as much as I could and treaded water with my hands and looked down. The water was murky, the way lake water gets in August, not opaque, but dark enough that I couldn't see more than a few feet below the surface. I could see nothing below me. I could feel nothing against my legs anymore. My friends arrived at the buoy line. I said nothing. We swam back. When we got to the shallows, I walked out as quickly as I could without running, because I was 16 and didn't want to seem frightened. I went back to our towels and looked out at the water. It was a calm afternoon, almost no wind. The surface of the lake flat and dark. I watched it for a long time. The next morning I read in the local paper that a woman had reported seeing something large in the lake that same Tuesday afternoon, large enough and moving in a way that made her certain it wasn't a fish. And the paper treated it as a curiosity, the kind of summer filler story that rural papers run in August. 2 other people had reported similar things over the previous 2 summers. I learned later, the lake had been tested periodically for invasive species. Nothing had been found. I am 34 now. I still live near the lake. I can see it from my kitchen window. My children ask to swim in it in the summer. I take them to a pool in the next town instead, and I have never adequately explained why. Chapter 2. The Dock. My friend's family has a cabin on a lake in the northern part of the state. They have had it for 3 generations. My friend's grandfather built it in the 1950s, and it has been in the family since. She spent every summer of her childhood there and continues to go with her own kids now. She knows that lake better than most people know their own neighborhoods. She told me this story in the winter, over the phone, because she had been thinking about it since the previous summer and needed to say it out loud to someone before the next summer arrived. Her daughter, who was 7 at the time, had been on the dock alone one afternoon while my friend was inside. Standard rule in their family, old enough to be on the dock, not old enough to go in the water without an adult. The daughter knew this rule and followed it. My friend could see the dock from the kitchen window and glanced out periodically. She glanced out at around 4 p.m. and saw her daughter standing at the end of the dock, looking down at the water. Normal enough. She glanced out again 5 minutes later, and her daughter was in the same position. Then again a few minutes after that. Same position, same stillness. Children are not usually this still. My friend went down to the dock. Her daughter didn't react when she arrived, didn't turn around, didn't acknowledge her. My friend put her hand on her daughter's shoulder and said her name. Her daughter turned around and looked at her with an expression that my friend said she had never seen on a 7-year-old's face before. Not fear, something that looked like the expression an adult might have after a very serious conversation. My friend asked what she was doing. Her daughter said, talking to the one in the water. My friend looked at the water. Dark, still, unremarkable. She asked who was in the water. Her daughter said she didn't know, but that she had been there for a long time and was lonely. My friend asked what they had been talking about. Her daughter said, "The house." She said the woman in the water wanted to know about the house. My friend took her daughter inside and asked as casually as she could whether the woman in the water had said anything else. Her daughter said yes. She had said that the house used to be hers. My friend said there was no house in the lake. Her daughter said she knew. The woman had said it was gone now. She had said it had been there before the lake. My friend checked this later because she is thorough and because it bothered her. The lake was constructed in 1947. It's a reservoir, not a natural lake, formed when a valley was flooded for a dam project. Before it was flooded, there had been a small community in that valley. Several houses, a church, a post office, all of it now 60 feet underwater. Her daughter has not mentioned the woman in the water since. My friend has not asked. She told me she intends to go back to the cabin this summer because the lake is beautiful, and the cabin has been in her family for 70 years, and she is not going to stop going because of one afternoon. She told me she has decided not to leave her daughter alone on the dock again. Chapter 3, The Night Swim. This is something that happened to me personally, and that I have not told many people, because it resists explanation, and I find that things that resist explanation are better kept to a small audience. I was 22. A group of us were at a friend's lake house for a long weekend. 10 people, plenty of beer, the particular careless energy of being young and unaccountable for a few days. On the second night, several people decided to go for a night swim, which is either a wonderful or a terrible idea depending on what happens. I went in with the group. The water was warm, it was July, and the lake held its heat, and the night was clear, and the swimming was good, and for about 20 minutes it was exactly the kind of memory you want to be making. Then, one by one, people started getting out, getting cold or tired or both, and eventually I realized I was the only one left in the water. I was about 40 yards from the dock, floating on my back, looking at the stars. I was not frightened. I was 22 and felt invincible the way 22-year-olds do, and the water was warm and the night was beautiful, and I had no reason to be anywhere other than exactly where I was. Then something touched the bottom of my foot. Not brushed, touched, deliberate. One finger, or something the shape of a finger, pressing briefly against the sole of my right foot from below. Once, then gone.
I am going to tell you exactly what I thought in the moment, because I think the exact sequence of thoughts matters. First I thought, fish.
Then I thought it was too deliberate to be a fish. Then I thought there is nobody else in the water. Then I thought there is nothing in this lake that has a finger.
I swam to the dock, not panicking. I am proud of this, irrational as it is. But quickly, I got out. I stood on the dock and looked at the water, and my heart was going faster than it should have been.
My friends asked if I was okay. I said I was cold. I went inside and didn't go back in the water that night, or the next day. And when people asked why, I said I was done swimming for the weekend, and left it at that. I have been back to lakes since. I swim in them. I like swimming, but I don't float on my back in deep water anymore, with my feet hanging down into the dark below me. I haven't done that since I was 22, and something pressed against the sole of my foot once, deliberately, and then was gone. I think about what it was, sometimes. I think about what was down there in the dark below me, close enough to touch, patient enough to wait until I was alone. I think about what it was waiting for me to do next.